What's up, my fellow gamers? Salty Thursday starts now with the 38th episode of the Saltiest Gaming Podcast. What is up, chat? What is up, panel?
Let's go.
Let's do some early shout outs. I know that's why you guys came here early. That's what you're here for, according to so Shady. Let's get these going here. Chris Cobra, you were the first one here. Thanks for that, bro. Nick Tendo, the Bum Direct. Thanks for being here. Timothy Dixon, so Shady, like I said. Free Jack. Who else is here?
We got Coke Viper in the chat, man.
Coke Viper, everybody. We're close to 20. Yeah, Brady T, Lunch Bizzle, Stinking Corpse, D Black Raven. Thanks for being here. Hit that like button. Let's get 20 likes. Let's get this this show on the road, shall we? Panel, it's been a week. We had some interesting conversation, to say the least. In the pregame, we were talking about coupons, extreme couponing. We were talking about cooking. What else were we, guys? We were talking.
She was
about,
getting real, man.
You're all
getting
talking
old,
about
man.
how ugly Noof Nukem is in person.
Noof was giving us a
Actually, I was talking about how sexy he was in person.
Yeah, Noof gave us a secret striptease on his new webcam. You guys missed out, man. So
It was fantastic.
Yeah, I think that webcam's a little too sharp. Just a little, you know.
Bastards are all half blind now. You guys are half blind from squinting so much.
We had to put our sunglasses on. It's they don't get a lot of sun up there in Canada, you know.
Pale.
Yo, there's a reason they call it the majestic land in the north, because he's as white as that goddamn snow.
Damn.
We turn it into a Noof Nukem roast hour here. Let me turn this down. I got the volume up. So, how you guys doing? All that good stuff. What have you guys been playing? Anything new? Yeah.
Nothing new. Just State of Decay, man. Going back on State of Decay. Back on PUBG, back and forth, back and forth. Miramar is a blast. I love that damn map. And Gears of War 4, man, I ain't got nothing else to play. But State of Decay 2 is so much damn fun, dude. And being able to jump into your guys' games just, at a whim, it's awesome, dude. And helping you guys out, and then helping myself, too, getting that influence. So that's true, cool, man.
Yeah, I was on, another podcast, and they were talking down about State of Decay 2. I felt like I was the only person on the panel that actually enjoyed the game. Chat, let us know if you're playing State of Decay 2, if you're finding it fun still. All the people that we roll with are playing that game on and off,
It's true.
It's one of the most played games for myself. I've experienced some bugs, which, lowered my score when I did the review. But, honestly, it's you got to love resource management. If you don't, the game's going to suck.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
It is what it is. That's cool, man. Miramar. Who else has been playing that Miramar map? Cedric H. Welcome. Lunch Bizzle, we said. Halo Storm, thanks for being here. Noof, what have you been playing?
I've been playing a few things, actually, but actually jumped back on the PUBG for the first time in a long time. Played a couple games the other night, playing some Sea of Thieves, obviously. I had the itch to scratch on that game. It's been pretty cool. And playing some God of War, playing Little Nightmares on the Switch. That just came out for the Switch, so that was pretty cool. And what else have I been playing? Just a variety of things, basically. But yeah, I've been keeping busy.
Nice. Punk, what have you been playing, man?
You already know, it's not even a question. Just Destiny, man. Yeah, Destiny, man. I don't give a damn what y'all think. I'm going to find out Dark's playing it too, so I was telling him on Twitter, and they definitely got a squad up in that. And believe it or not, my wife really got into wrestling, so we bought WWE. So I was like, we both bought it, went in blind, and sitting there figuring out the buttons. That shit is fucking hard. I don't remember wrestling games being so in depth with the moves. So you're just doing the same move and can't do anything. You can't. You're getting pinned in 30 seconds. I'm like, I can't do it. I'm terrible. No,
the reversal system I find is very tricky in those new games now.
Yeah, but it's fun, man. Just playing with the wife was actually pretty fun. I really enjoyed myself. That's pretty much it, man. Destiny and that.
Awesome, man. Boo on Destiny 2, man.
Boo on you, sir. Boo on you.
Dark. What have you been playing, Boo?
I've been playing Dark Souls Remastered. Huge shout out to Iceman LMH for getting that for me, man. I would absolutely appreciate it, bro. You didn't have to do that, but it was awesome that you did it.
Thanks for being awesome, man.
Yep.
And I also been playing a little bit of Destiny too. Just
whoop.
get my Luminous engrams for the week. Stuff like that.
Awesome. Yeah, that Dark Souls remaster, I looked at it in the beginning and I kind of said, hey, it doesn't look that good.
60 frames per second. Oh my gosh, it's way better.
It looks
way
good.
better.
I actually probably might pick that up because I'm a big Souls fan. I've played all of them, so we'll see. We'll see if we pick that up. Bloody, what have you been playing?
Oh, State of Decay, man. I've already finished my first. I just hit 100 hours. Finished my first legacy. Packed up everything and started my second. I'm already halfway through my second map.
God, get a life, Bloody.
I can't help it. Look, I'm efficient at what I do. I'm good at what I do. I'm a gamer. Everyone's just like, dude, how the hell you not lose anyone? Because I'm fucking the best. That's all it is.
The best. Wow.
Yeah, I'm the best. No one's gonna ever keep me down.
Hey, honestly, I haven't lost a person yet, but I was close like a bunch of times. You know where you get to that point where they get you down and then you can revive yourself kind of and then run away. I was in that spot and then Native was joining the game and he's like, hold on, I'm loading. And I was literally just dead. And somehow I survived it. So that game, man, I'm telling you, if you guys are sleeping on it, you haven't got it. If it's not for everyone, so I'm not going to tell you to go pick it up. If you're not into that resource management, but damn, I don't know, man. It's just something about that game for me. I like it. It's a niche. What draws you to it, buddy?
I like survival games. I've always really liked heavy survival games. It's why I loved Ark. It's why I enjoyed Rust back in the day. And I haven't played Conan Exiles, but I know that's a really good one. But I've just always really liked survival games, and that one takes that survival aspect. It's like you have to realize, you build up a community, you have to manage your resources from making stuff to what you're going to be without, making sure you have enough backup, that you're working with the people in your area as well as being able to defend. And the fact that it's all permadeath, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. If you fuck something up, it's on you.
Yeah, man, it's a good game. LeBron James in the chat. I guess the game's going on, right?
I don't know.
Oh gosh,
I've been bouncing between that and I've been going back to the Crew because I've been excited for the Crew 2, and I just played the beta earlier. I was actually streaming that for like 2 hours, and it's so much fun.
Why?
I love a good racing game. There hasn't been a good racing game in so long, and that one's probably one of the ones that actually scratched that well done itch. I do like the focus on the cars with the way that the upgrades actually work, because of the fact that they actually make sense, from upgrading your suspension system, your motor core, your transmission, your weight reduction on your vehicles, everything. I love the aspect because I know cars, and they have some beautiful cars in there, as well as I just like the aspect of what they had from being able to switch the type of cars from having a street racer, having a dirt racer, switching it up to a raid for off-roading, to a high-performance circuit racer car, like everything. And then with the Crew 2, they added in boats and planes, and that shit was fun to do. And plus, I love riding around in a monster truck. Who doesn't love that?
Shit, I'm not a racer type guy. I picked up Mario Kart on the Switch for my kid. That's about how far my racing goes when it comes to video games. But it's cool, man. I've heard good things about it. That's cool that you enjoy that yourself. So without further ado, let's get into the first topic, shall we?
Let's go.
5th year anniversary of the Xbox One reveal. I wanted to get into this, right? I just want to talk about how the brand has changed from that time to now. I know that we all know the story of the reveal. I was standing in line at Best Buy in the rain to get that day one Xbox One with the Kinect built into it, that $500 price point. Best Buy, got my warranties. I picked up all the games that were available. I was there, and I remember watching the conference, and I had to decide whether or not I was going to go to PlayStation. I was talking with my friends in a party, and we all had that discussion after seeing that conference, because it's something that people had to figure out for themselves. It's like, PlayStation's $100 less. It seems like they have the better specs, et cetera, et cetera. But for some reason, we decided to stay with the Xbox One, and I don't personally regret it. And I feel like it was a great decision for myself. I want to talk about the fact that when they revealed the Xbox, let's talk about the Kinect was built in. It was less powerful. They talked about TV. You guys remember that? You remember that conference?
TV.
I'm still trying to forget it, dude.
Yeah, it was crazy, right? That conference was interesting to say the least. And you look at where it was then with the leadership, and you look at the game situation, I feel like the game situation was better back then, but the hardware situation was way worse, you know?
Yeah.
And then you remember the UI. The UI was fucking horrible on the dashboard for the original Xbox One. So they've, you know, what do you guys think? I'm talking a lot. What do you guys think? Do you guys have some thoughts about, you know, 5 years of Xbox One? Let's talk about it. Anybody?
You know, honestly, for me, I wasn't an early adopter of the Xbox One. I had an Xbox 360 probably 8 to 10 months into the release of the Xbox One. So I was watching everything from the sidelines, and everything that I was reading, man, from articles to interviews to podcasts and things of that nature, were just absolutely shitting on the UI. They were shitting on I mean, early adopters were even looking at the Snap and saying that the Snap was annoying.
Yeah.
I mean, there were so many things that was just buggy with the console, and that's kind of the reason why I choose to stay on the sidelines for a little bit when a new console drops, just because I want to see how everything is. But the older I get, the more I'm realizing, no, I want to be on that cutting edge. So, but seeing where the company's at now under, you know, Spencer and all the leadership changes, I think it's got so much more potential than it had when the Xbox One released, you know, with the X. With the X now, so there's just a lot more room for attention, potential. One of the things that, you know, we all remember from that conference was TV. There's none of that now. I mean, we don't have Snap anymore. We don't have what was that thing called? It was One Something. What was it called? Where you would switch over to the TV like instantly. One guide, yeah, or something guide. Well, they got rid of that. I mean, there's just so many different things that they've started out with, and were just abolished. I mean, completely obliterated. They're gone in the wind, and now we're all left with the ghost of that. And we're still trying to forget that damn conference. But I will say that the brand itself has grown, I mean, light years ahead of where it was, where it started. Same thing with the PS4, but I think the PS4, Sony's side, they kind of hit the ground running. They really hit the ground running, and they're still sprinting. So, you know, we're slowly hitting that sprint. We're getting our stride in right now as far as Xbox goes. And I say we because I'm a primary, you know, Xbox gamer. So it's the only console I own. So when I say we, I mean just the brand itself. I consider myself a part of the brand, and it's a hell of a lot of fun, dude. It's great to see us in our stride, and I just hope that this E3 brings it.
ABA had an interesting point. It's one I was going to make on Xbox Nation. I think Xbox is still having issues with this. It's an identity problem. I think that's a huge problem. I think leadership was probably a huge problem, obviously. If you look at the identity situation on, you know, the Nintendo side or the PlayStation side, if you ask, you know, random people, you're like, hey, what's PlayStation's identity? And it's like, well, single player narrative or whatever. Hey, what's Nintendo's identity? Well, you know, they have a really strong first party lineup and all this other stuff, right? And then you ask, well, what's Xbox's identity? And you look at the beginning of the generation, and it's like they had all these single player narrative games that didn't sell well. They just been all over the place this generation, you know. So I think lack of identity has been a big issue, and it's still kind of bleeding in. Noof, what are your thoughts about the first 5 years of Xbox?
Well, let's just say they have turned it around exponentially, like a 180. Exactly. But, you know, it was marketing and messaging that Microsoft got wrong. And I'm thinking that this was mostly corporate decisions, because I'm sure if they went to their fan base and did test groups, somebody would have told them this doesn't sound like a good idea. So I think overall, I think Microsoft was trying to jump ahead. They were trying to start their own sort of curve for the future with the, you know, the DRM. And potentially we sort of have what they today what they more or less listed back in 2013, but the idea wasn't as sound at that time. Sony largely didn't have a great sort of, it wasn't really so much that theirs was impressive, their launch, as it was that they took advantage of Microsoft's missteps. So Microsoft's misfortune was Sony's gain. And I got to admit, for the first time as an Xbox fan, I had my doubts about the console and even the brand. And I actually was I put my pre-order down on a PS4. I can hear the booze coming now. I put my order down on a PS4. I was going to skip the Xbox completely because it was more expensive. I didn't like where they were going with things. And but what happened was I ended up getting into that Pepsi Doritos contest up here in Canada, and I actually won the Xbox One. Wow. And so I kind of said, well, all right, now I don't even have to dish out the money. I'm winning the damn thing. So basically then what I did is I dumped my PS4 pre-order and said, fuck it, I'm gonna have some faith in Xbox. By the time my Xbox actually showed up at the door, a lot of those things had already changed, and I was kind of like, all right, this is pretty cool. It's working out real good. But I mean, they had a great launch lineup, there's no doubt. But like you mentioned, Salty, their UI was clunky at the time. Their messaging, they were very leaning towards trying to be the be all end all for everybody. I think it was the problem. They were so focused on trying to, you know, be a hit with the mom and the dad, and being a TV console and a movie machine and so many things. And I think that's why they named it Xbox One, because essentially the one, I think, was supposed to mean it was the one device to rule your entire entertainment cabinet. You know what I mean?
That's all it was.
That's what it was. And but that sort of backfired on them. I mean, the Kinect was a good idea sound wise, but they never did bring out a piece of software that made you go, man, I really want the Kinect. Ultimately, most of us used it for voice commands and for fast forward and shit with movies and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it turned out to be more of a side peripheral as opposed to what it was intended to be, and it was really supposed to, and I think the original Xbox dashboard too was largely designed for users to implement Kinect more so than the average controller scheme. But that didn't work well either. It was clunky, it confused people, the price threw people off. But yeah, they have turned it around 180. Xbox brand, in most cases outside of again coming up with some stellar games now, is strong in almost every other department that it was weak in back in 2013.
Exactly, man. I think a lot of people focus on how bad the beginning was, but honestly, if you look at, you know, the Wii U, for an example, how bad that went, and you can kind of, you know, draw parallels to some of the things that happened. You know, it's a different situation, but Nintendo was just like, hey, we're dropping support on the Wii U not soon after it launched. You know, I forgot the year it launched, but it wasn't that far after where they're like, hey, we're done with this. But Xbox, on the other hand, they kind of dug themselves out of the grave, per se, that Donnie D tried to put us in. And I give them respect for that, right? They could have just totally, you know, said, we're done, right? This was a catastrophic launch. We'll just move on, right? But they've tried to pull themselves out, and I think they have. You know, obviously they're still trying to figure things out when it comes to their identity and leadership and stuff like that. But, you know, from where we were to where we are, it's perspective, you know. So
quick question. Okay, I like to humanize every fucking thing that I can. How long has Microsoft been in the gaming industry? How many years would you say?
Are you talking about just Xbox specifically?
I'm saying Microsoft. I'm saying Microsoft. What, Microsoft itself?
Well, you'd have to say since the launch of Windows, if you know they've had, if you don't mind, Minesweeper and stuff like that.
We'll say console.
Yeah, 2001. You know,
2001, and Sony's been in since 95, 94.
95. I think it's 95.
Yep,
95.
Yeah, okay, so I like to humanize everything. So the way that I look at it is, Sony's coming out of their teenage years, right? They're stepping into their 20th anniversary. They're stepping into that milestone of becoming an adult. By the time you're an adult, you kind of know where your stride is. You kind of know who you are as a person, and you've got things kind of settled down into your personality. Sony's got that with their single player narrative games, their third person interactive stories and everything. Microsoft is still that teenager that's trying to find itself, looking like bloody with the eyeliner and everything, trying to figure out who they are as a person.
Hey, fuck you.
No,
I know who I am.
That's what they seem like. I'm just, like I said, I humanize everything, and that's why I look for those stories. Oh, shut up, bloody. But so they're still trying to figure out who they are as a company, who they are as a console, what their identity is, and I just wanted to speak to that a little bit.
It's true.
Because I mean, as teenagers, we go through all kinds of funky shit. We put ourselves through all kinds of funky shit. So Microsoft finding out who they are, I think we just need to give them time to find out what that is, and if that's the multiplayer aspect of gaming, I'm all for it, dude.
So be it, right? Like they need to have an identity, man.
They will hit their stride. All I ask for gamers is just have patience with these brands, man. We had patience with Sony, we had patience with Nintendo, and now Microsoft is going to hit that stride as well. So have patience, people.
So Bloody, you have your identity in life. What's your thought on Xbox? 5 years.
Well, for the Xbox One, it really has turned around. And unlike a lot of the other people here, I never came in during the OG era. I came in well into the 360 era. I was growing up, like I said, I had a PlayStation and a Sega Genesis and a Super Nintendo for the longest time. I had a PS1, then I got a PS2 and went through all 4 or 5 different versions of the PS2 because those things went out like crazy. Those things would die and they would always have like a new version. Went through all of those. But when I was looking at the PS3, probably about 2 years into that generation, I think it was about 2008. I also was looking at the 360, but a lot of the people I met had told me to come into the get a 360 as that's what everyone had at the time, and I really liked it. And when they launched the Xbox One, I understood a lot of the stuff that they were looking at back then, and I was completely for it. I mean, let's be honest, a lot of us use our Xboxes as multimedia centers, whether we think about it consciously or not. How many of us are watching Hulu or Netflix or anything else? I know a few people here have, use it for live TV occasionally. It really is an all-in-one media, but they're just not calling it that anymore. It is. But I came into the generation probably in 2014 just because I wanted to give it some time. And, when I came in, it was right during the launch, I think, of The Division. And it wasn't bad when I came into it. There was a lot of changes. I agree with everyone else. The dashboard back then, like 2014, 2015, God, it was bad. But they improved it over time. But, everyone complains that they changed a little bit too much. And sometimes it gets a little bit more ridiculous each time. And yeah, that's definitely agreeable. But for the most part, everything that they've done to improve the ecosystem, to improve the services, to improve Xbox Live itself, and what they want to do is been miles and truly gone far beyond anything else. It's just right now they need to figure out what they want to do. Now they're kind of pushing a lot of their games. Honestly, if you think about it, they really have been behind the co-op, shared, co-op multiplayer kind of thing for the longest time. I mean, look at what Halo 2, Halo 3 had co-op for the longest time. Gears of War had co-op for the longest time, and everything else that they were pushing were all co-op games. Yeah, some of them had single player aspects, but a lot of it was building around that, shared experience with your friends. Yeah. So I think now they're just really trying to double down on it and really get into that, like Native was saying, that they are starting to hit their stride, and we're going to really start to see a lot of that pay off, because it's taken years to get past what Don Matrick did. And Don Matrick burned a lot of bridges for Microsoft and the Xbox brand in the years.
Because I'm sorry, like everybody that thinks Donnie D was good for the brand. I mean,
no,
maybe
he
good.
He was good because the fact that he was a businessman. He wasn't. He had a business sense, but he didn't have a gaming sense. He didn't have the proper mindset to what supports gaming. He's just like, look, I'm gonna throw money at whatever and get what I want out of the people that I want.
Throw money at the NFL.
Exactly.
So, real quick, Punk, when did you adopt the Xbox One?
Day one. I was one of those losers.
Okay. You were like me, dude. It's weird because there's not that many out there, honestly. Like when I asked this, go ahead, dude.
No, I was like, for me, like a lot of us, or many of us, or at some point, a lot of us came from the 360. So even after watching the terrible E3 and the reveal and everything, I mean, I was buying it regardless because that's where my friends are at. I mean, they had the less games, the clunkier UI, the terrible Connect, but I wasn't jumping ship. I mean, if I bought a PlayStation, again, I'd just kind of be in that single player realm. Yeah, they had multiplayer, but no one likes playing multiplayer by yourself. You're going to play with your friends at all times. Mm-hmm. So I was the first guy in line. I was like pumped. You know, I got my car parked up front, says Xbox Gamer on it, feeling like a beast coming out of there. Get Horizon 3 and what Madden, some other game. I mean, it was a good time, and I'm glad I picked it up. As far as all the stuff they use for entertainment, I have never, to this day, obviously you can't even do it with the X now or anything, but I've never connected mine to a TV. So like when you guys talk about like the one guide, I'm like, I couldn't even tell you how to do it because I've never done it. And I've always used mine strictly for gaming. I don't even have a Netflix account or Hulu. I'm not a big TV watcher. Like it's just strictly for games. That's all I want it for. When we go in there, I'm gonna play with my friends and use it strictly for gaming. And if the next one has a bunch of baloney TV stuff too, I won't use it. I'm gonna use it for gaming. That's what it's there for. Mm-hmm. But Microsoft, their head is always, we talk about it all the time, their head is always in the right place. Like they're very inventive. They come up with great ideas, but their timing is just awful. And I feel like once they get that down and put things out at the right time, that will be the key to victory.
True. It was well said. Dark, what's your thoughts, man? When did you pick your Xbox up?
I actually picked mine up like a year later when they got rid of that stupid freaking Kinect. Mm-hmm. I hated that thing. I was like, why are they putting this for the Xbox? Like, and it's required. I was just like, I can't stand it. I'm okay with my 360 right now. I know there's still going to be games for it. But here's the thing, you know, every like third console that comes out for these companies, they always seem to make some major mistakes, you know, some pretty substantial mistakes where, you know, and it's always because the year before or the generation before, it's always like they were always the ones that were on top. They were, you know, always making, you know, the most money, and they were really touting it, and you know, they always get like a really big head, and then all of a sudden, when the console comes out again, or like when the next generation comes, they make a lot of mistakes, like putting in the Kinect. They put in, you know, even with the Wii to the Wii U, they didn't really market the Wii U right. It was just kind of like, is it an offset of the Wii or something like that? You know, people really didn't know what it was. And then, you know, with Microsoft, you know, they put in the Kinect. They really focused on the TV stuff, and you know, and gamers were like, I'm out, man. I ain't buying that, you know, and you know, ever since then, you know, it's always been kind of this back and forth about, you know, like, you know, yeah, PlayStation's better. PlayStation has all the games, but at the same time, you know, Microsoft and Xbox have really come back from a lot of the stuff that happened in 2013. You know, they fixed a lot of the, you know, dashboard problems. You know, they got rid of a lot of things that people weren't using. You know, they still have the one guide, but it's rarely ever used by anybody, and it's easy to just pop out of, and you can go to the main menu. It's not that hard. It's just, you know, it was kind of funny to see that, you know, that a company that's really trying to bring back its audience but still get shitted on. It's like, really? Like, come on, guys, like just give them a little bit of a chance, you know, because it's Xbox is not that bad. Like, it's not terrible. It could be worse. It could be like the Atari Jaguar, you know, like everybody knows what the Atari Jaguar, you know, like that console was trash, you know. And you know, it's just like, come on, man, like, you know, everybody just wants to trash on something, you know, because it's popular, especially with social media and everything like that. You know, but I think, you know, these past 5 years have been a really good 5 years for Xbox. We've had more exclusives, I feel, than we've had on the 360 era, even with the original Xbox era. Like, I think we had a few exclusives, but nothing that stands out like the ones that we get now, you know, the ones that we got this generation, you know, like Rise, Son of Rome, Sunset Overdrive, you know, all these other you know, exclusives that we got. It was just like, oh man, you know, finally we're getting exclusives on the Xbox that we can play and have fun with. And definitely, you know, we didn't we haven't had a really good exclusive in a while. You know, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people who love Sea of Thieves. I'm not one of them, but I respect everybody who does love it. You know, there was State of Decay 2 that just came out, which was good, but you know, it's not, you know, the best. It's not really showcasing the console. It's really not showcasing the X that's out right now. It's just, you know,
real quick, so you think that we're heading in the right direction, right?
I think we're headed. We're getting there. Okay. You know, it just takes some time, man. You know, Phil Spencer, you know, you got to realize, like, he just got in there. Like, it wasn't that long ago. People feel like he's been in there for so long. He's not giving us what we want. Well, he has to answer.
Real quick, I'm going to cut you off again. I got to pay the bills. Alan Savage, $20. Thank you. I appreciate it. We got 62 people watching, 36 likes. Let's hit that like button. Let's get up to 40. I'm really digging this conversation, honestly. It really is good to look back at what's been going on. It's easy to look at the negatives, right? Negatives are easy to look at in life and in gaming in general, right? But as you guys are hearing people's experiences and stories, right, in chat or people on the panel, they can tell you where they came from. Not everybody was a first, you know, day one adopter. We're not all Xbox. We're not, you know, we have multi consoles. That's the reason why we do this gaming podcast, is we like to talk about gaming, you know. So Xbox hit that 5-year milestone. I felt like it was appropriate to take a look back, and I appreciate the thoughts that we have and the feelings that we have. Let's real quick. Let's say one thing that we feel like Xbox needs to do moving forward to catapult into the next generation, and then we'll move on to the next topic. I feel, like I said before, identity is the number one thing for me. We've talked about it. I think identity, if they nail that down, and leadership, but identities for me. Noof, what do you think? One thing going forward to propel them into the next generation?
Exclusives matter, and now they need to bring the heavy hitters. They need to finish strong, and they need games that not only look great, maybe a game that really starts to show off the potential of the Xbox One X. I don't think we've seen it at its finest yet, but they need something to really capitalize on the last couple of years before they transition to the next gen. And it doesn't really matter what it is, but as long as the game is quality, no more buggy shit now, guys. They need a top tier game that's really going to blow some minds, and it might even end up in the Game of the Year conversation. That's pretty much it.
All right, Punk, one thing going forward.
I think they need to take a page out of Sony's book, what they did in 2013, just be like, this is a gaming box. Like, just really advertise gaming and keep all the other nonsense out of there. That's what I'd like to see.
Awesome. Native, one thing.
For me, it's marketing. They need to step up their marketing big time, whether that's getting the marketing rights for these, you know, multi-plat games, or getting some kind of exclusive content as far as, you know, certain maps or whatever the hell it may be. Marketing is key for me. Marketing, making sure that they have the right marketing steps. You know, they have a roadmap anyway. That's what I'm looking for.
Awesome. Dark, one thing.
Now, I know I said that they've had some exclusives this generation, but they do definitely need more. You know, PlayStation is killing it over there with their exclusives, so I definitely think that going into the next generation, they definitely need more exclusives.
Yep. Okay. Bloody, last but not least, what one thing can they do to propel themselves into the next generation?
To really propel themselves into the next generation, honestly, everyone's points are good, but what they need is a solid roadmap. They need to know what they want to do, how to get there. It goes just beyond the exclusives and everything else. They need to know what they want, when they want it, and have that steady plan. That's what's kind of been this whole generation's been catch up and trying to reorganize things. Next gen, they just need to plan it out better. That's what they need.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. It does seem like they kind of just put out the Xbox One X and we're like, all right, guys, what now? Like, let's kind of just wing it from here.
At least we saw that from the get-go. They were kind of doubling down on what they did with the X by getting out those dev kits a year early, and we're seeing the heavy support for some devs using it. That's a good move. Right now, though, is now they need to, with this kind of game, get this leg up on the competition right now and get their game game in it, is they need to focus on what they want to do in the future. They need to really plan out where to go from here.
And I think I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I kind of think that's what this E3 is gonna kind of really put the basis for. Is they're gonna kind of start planning out better, and I really hope that's the case for this year.
Okay. Let's move on to the next topic. It's an interesting topic. I've talked to you guys behind the scenes about it. I think it's something that we should go over. It's thought-provoking, kind of. We'll have to rev our brains up for it. So E3 this year, I've talked about it. There's been lots of leaks, right? Tons of leaks. It's like a leaky faucet. We need to call Mario Brothers to come fix this shit. It's crazy. So this is my first year doing YouTube with gaming and stuff like that, and I've never been this deep into the gaming scene with social media and just knee deep in everything. So that might have something to do with it. But I was around in the gaming scene for last E3, and I didn't remember leaks to this level. We had the Walmart Canada leak that basically showed every game going forward except for the Switch. We had that confirmed on a lot of levels with the Rage 2 announcement and a ton of other game announcements there. We're gonna talk about the Assassin's Creed leak that came up. A keychain was shown, and then Ubisoft came out and said, "Hey, yeah, we're doing that." Because these leaks come out, and the companies have to get ahead of it with the PR, right? They have to say, "Hey, we're coming out with this shit," because they don't want other people doing the reveal for them, So these leaks come out, then the companies come out, and the companies are even doing their own conferences. So you had the Battlefield 5 reveal. You had all these people going before E3, so it feels like E3 is almost an afterthought at this point. So what are you guys' thought? Do you think these leaks are getting out of control? It's getting to the point where it's kind of making almost E3 irrelevant?
No
pun intended. You don't think so?
No. And here's the reason why, is that some of these games that are getting these big reveals are big name games for these companies, and they want to give them their own spotlight because it puts more attention solely on that. If they do it during a conference, then everything else that they show completely gets overshadowed by the one biggest thing that everyone looks forward to. Because we know there's going to be a Call of Duty, we know there's going to be a Battlefield, but if EA or Activision put those up during their shows, those are the big talking points that everyone's going to take away from their show, because the new Battlefield looked really cool or the new Call of Duty looked really cool. They're not going to focus on everything else because we know that Anthem's going to be on EA. We don't know what else is going to be there. So we know that there's going to be other things that are going to get time during the show that isn't going to be overshadowed by something that's going to obviously be a real big thing. So that's why I think that these companies doing these solo reveal events for these big games are kind of to be expected, but it's also to help kind of give them the breathing room for everything else. Like with the Assassin's Creed thing. Yeah, that's what happens when companies send out their merchandising too early to places, because right now on their official Twitter, they say that they're going to show it off at E3, which we would expect. But companies get the merchandising earlier, which probably isn't going to go on sale until after the show, and they make it a big thing. But some people get to look at it early, and they're like, "Ooh, look at this! Something that isn't talked about. I'm going to post this up here, here, and here." And then they're just like, "Well, fuck, this is kind of an issue on them for sending it out early." But I understand that they have to have it out by a certain date, so that way they could push it out after it goes live.
Yeah, man. What do you think about these leaks, man?
Well, I mean, sometimes they help build hype for a game because you're dying to find out more about it, where it's really, fully unveiled and explained more in person at E3. But at the same time, they do take a little wind out of the sails, because I like to be surprised, right? The whole point about E3 is getting excited for the things we don't know, not about the stuff that we do. That's why, why Sony's E3s are like, they're solid because they have great games. You don't go in with the same anticipation because they've already kind of said, we're going to show off this game, this game, this game, and this game. And we're all like, well, we've shown those games the last 3 or 4 years. So unless you're going to show us something completely new inside of those games, it's not going to, your balls are not going to get all sweaty, waiting for these things to come out here. Microsoft right now is still holding an upper hand. They've been keeping things tight to their chest, and maybe they're one of the only companies that have been very, very quiet. But you can see by Aaron Greenberg, Larry Herb, a few guys have been sort of like, this is going to be good. We're going to have a jam-packed show. I hope it lives up to the hype. I just say keep your expectations in check, because it's better to go in expecting nothing and get something and then be surprised, or expect the world and then they don't deliver and then you're like, "Whoa, my God, that was so disappointing." But overall, leaks, I don't know if they're really good or necessarily bad. I guess it depends on the extent of the leak and the type of game this leak. Like I think you just alluded to, there's a lot of games that we kind of know that are going to come out. Like you kind of expect another Fallout, you're kind of expecting an Assassin's Creed, you expect Call of Duty, you expect Battlefield. So like when those games kind of get announced, you're kind of like semi-excited because you almost know they're of what are they bringing out, like which era are they in, what, that sort of thing, right?
Yep.
And kind of go with that too is when it's something that you're expected, it's just like, how are they going to improve it, how are they going to change it? Especially like when we got surprised with Assassin's Creed Origins and saw the massive overhaul. That got me excited for Assassin's Creed, because Assassin's Creed is one of my favorite series, because I love history and I love the way that they tell the story of history in a very fantastic and kind of fabled way, but it still has its roots. But what Origins completely blew my mind with the way that they did the story, the way that the game played, everything in it was so vast and so well done that it really changed around what was tired out from before. And I really want to see what they're going to do with Odyssey now. So he brought up a good point with that.
Yeah, So Shady was talking about it. He was saying that the big thing for him is the gameplay reveals, you know? So if you're not having a specific, you know, conference like EA did with Battlefield, and they're not showing the gameplay yet, then if you get lists of these games, yes, it does lower the excitement level, because it's the surprise factor for me. Like when I walk into an E3 and I get, boom, to get this announcement, I see a game trailer, you start to see it. It starts to come on, you know, it goes on screen. You're like, what is this shit? You know what I'm saying? That's the cool part, because if you're seeing gameplay plus you don't know what it is, it's a good combination. But if you know what's coming, you know, during the conference, then you get to see the gameplay. It's still exciting. I think it's cool in that respect. Punk, what do you think about the leaks, man? Does it lower your excitement at all, or are you cool with it?
I'm kind of in the middle, like you said. Since you brought me on the show, you know, being more involved in social media, so you read a lot more, you hear a lot more. You know, I'm at work, and then you guys are like sending me all these leaks and shit too. I'm like, oh damn, like I'm trying to read them all. Obviously, you don't have time. They can ruin things, but in the end, I still think the excitement is always going to be there. I mean, we're here for the games. We get pumped for E3 every year, even if it's something you've already seen. Maybe it's a game you really anticipate, and that has been shown for the last 2 years. And you're like, dude, like they're finally going to show me something, and like. And they hit you with that damn date at the end, you know, November 2018. You're like, oh shit, finally, you know, it's been 3 years since I'm waiting for this game. So the leaks are good. They can be bad. Just got to keep your thing. Noof was saying, you know, just don't overhype stuff, man. Like the games are gonna be there. It is what it is. I mean, like for me, like we're all talking about Splinter Cell. Like if that doesn't show for some reason, that will kill my E3 hype. I'm like, damn. I'm like, well, and I'm gonna go shoot my balls off.
You'll be on the ledge
another 5 years. Yeah. Let me just add one more. Like the earlier leak comes out too is the fact that the fans do a lot of these games a disservice because we start to overanalyze things, and then either some people get super hyped or some people go, "Oh God, that 30-second trailer showed me nothing. I'm really disappointed. Not what I expected." And then all of a sudden, people, you know how it goes, right? Podcasts come out and then people overanalyze and. All of a sudden, this game is like, this game's going to be a piece of trash or turd or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, true.
Native, what's your thoughts, man?
For me, man, I'm probably the only one on this panel that's going to say, I don't mind the leaks. I actually like the leaks because it kind of gives me something to look forward to when it comes to E3. Like, I'm looking for it. You know, the leak with the Assassin's Creed thing. Now I'm looking at that, and I know... Okay, when the Ubisoft conference comes on, I'm going to be watching for that because I want to see the gameplay. I want to see what they have up their sleeve. Because most of the time, I mean, like, take the Ubisoft Assassin's Creed. What is it? It's Greece, right? Or what's it? No, Odyssey.
Yeah, Odyssey.
You look at that, and you don't know anything about it. You don't know what they're going to do. You don't know if they're going to follow the same formula as Origins or if they're going to go back to their roots with the first couple of installments of the series. So that's what I look for. I'm with So Shady on this one, where I watch E3 for the gameplay trailers. You know, I really don't care for the tease. the teaser trailers because they bother me because it's not giving me anything. I'm impatient, and
that's why it's a teaser.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I know.
Whet your appetite to get you excited because you want more.
But it doesn't do that. It frustrates the hell out of me. So
he doesn't like to be teased, apparently.
Yeah, I don't.
No,
I'm not gonna go there.
You just want to skip
That's it, dude. Just
Native, you're the kind of guy who doesn't like foreplay, are you?
But honestly, though, I don't mind the leaks. I like them. You know, as long as they're at a certain point. Don't give me some, bootleg ass trailer to something. Like, when when people go to Comic-Con and they film the trailer that's only supposed to be shown there at Comic-Con, and then it gets leaked out and it's some bullshit, grainy recording of some trailer. I can't stand that. It's like, no, I want the real thing. Tease the way that they tease. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, but the thing about that is that the trailer that they see is completely different than what everyone else sees.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, I don't mind the leaks. Like I said, and I'm gonna keep reiterating that. I don't mind them as long as they're still obscure in nature. Like with Odyssey, it was a keychain. That was it. That's all they gave us, and then. Of course, Assassin's Creed comes out in front of it and says, "No, we're actually releasing this. It's an actual game. This is the the cover art or whatever it may be, and we're going to be revealing the rest of it later." It's like, okay, now I know what to look forward to. So I don't mind it. It doesn't take away surprise for me because I'm going in with the attitude of I haven't seen anything substantial yet. All I know is a name. That's it, and
awesome.
that's how I go about it.
Dark. One last thought here. What do you think, man? Leaks.
They never have bothered me. It's one of those things like it's whatever. It's like, oh, okay, they're but they when they're a leak, it's always like, oh, it's only like a picture or like some like little snippet of the name of the game or whatever. It's just like, yeah, but we haven't seen anything yet substantial, like Native said. We haven't seen anything that's like a trailer or gameplay of it. So it doesn't bother me to see these leaks. It actually gets me more hyped for E3 because I know E3 is going to be fantastic. It's fantastic every year, even though there's a lot of people out there that hate on it. But it's always something that I adore every single time it comes around.
Okay. So since we're on the topic of leaks, that Assassin's Creed Odyssey keychain was shown on Twitter. We'll go through this pretty quick. We're not going to dwell on it too fast. Apparently it's going to be taking place in Greece. Am I correct on that? Noof, you said you saw a leaked gameplay video.
I think it might have been Jamie Moran. Somebody leaked like a little it's like a really quick snippet. The title screen comes. I think it's Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and you see this Roman gladiator guy kind of looks, with the helmet and everything on, and he kicks this dude off of a ledge, aka very similar to the scene out of the movie 300. I thought it looked pretty cool. It's very quick, but if they're gonna go to ancient Greece and Rome in that era, that would definitely be pretty cool indeed.
If you actually look in the chat, that was actually the snippet video that they posted on their official Twitter page for the announcement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Bloody, you excited for this? Do you think this is cool? I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, dude, I've loved the Assassin's Creed series. I've played every single game because I truly did fall in love. Actually, the first Assassin's Creed game was one of the first games I had on the 360, and I thought it was cool back then, even though if you look at it now, it's like godly repetitive. You can see the growth. And I'm looking forward to this because where they ended with Origins, I left me so happy and excited for what's going to come in the future. And if this is going into Greece, it can really connect with Origins. So we might either see the return of Bayek and his wife, or we might be seeing the start of when they were expanding because of how it ended. I'm not going to go into it, even though it's been, over 7 months and people should have played it by now. But just the ending. You see how the growth of the Brotherhood starts, and this might be that first expansion into a new country. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
Okay, Punk, what do you think of the leak, the keychain? You hyped about it? I know you got Origins, right?
Yeah, honestly, I never finished it, and that's not me hating on the game. I just started playing other stuff. First of all, let me say, man, would it be great to have Fonz in on this conversation?
Oh God!
Shout
out to Fonz. He hates Ass Creed now.
He loved it and did a whole 180 on it.
No,
it's definitely heading in the right direction. I usually always buy all the Assassin's Creed. My only concern is, obviously, they ran it to the ground with the way they did it, and now since they revamped it, like I was kind of hoping they're going to do that 2-year thing because I don't want this iteration of it to just kind of be ran to the ground. Also, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's my only concern about it, but I'll definitely get it.
I think it has a chance to be a glorified DLC of Origins, honestly. So we shall see. Native, what do you think, man?
Honestly, man, for someone who hasn't played Origins, which I haven't, and that's not, I'm so burnt out with Assassin's Creed games, and I know everybody's saying, using the word, these hotkeys.
How dare you, sir?
These hot keywords like revamped and just things of that nature, but I've never. My favorite one was Assassin's Creed 3, and that's only because the main character was half Native American. So,
yep,
I love that one. That's it. Other than that, I really didn't care for them. The first one was great because it was brand new. It was a new IP, and it was just astounding. The world was beautiful. But moving on, it was boring. But as far as the leak goes, I would have loved if the person who leaked that keychain just took a picture of the helmet, just the helmet, and then put that and blasted that everywhere. So that way that conversation goes, well, what is this? Is this a new game? Just something like that. That would have been amazing. And Assassin's Creed Odyssey would have been able to get in front of it. But either way, I have a feeling I'm going to try this one just because, in my opinion, I like Greek mythology more than I do with the history of Greece. More than I do with Egypt. I know more about Greece and about that time period than I do Egypt, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to pick this one up.
Okay. Who haven't I called on, or did I miss anybody?
I think Dark.
Any thoughts?
Dude, I am ecstatic for Assassin's Creed, dude. I'm a huge Assassin's Creed fan, so like getting just this little snippet of an announcement for this game, or even if it's just a glorified DLC, I'm super hyped for it. I cannot wait. I love the Greek mythology. I love anything that has to do with that time period. So I mean, I'm all in on it. I'm definitely probably if it is a DLC, I'm definitely getting it. Even if it is a full-fledged game, just definitely gonna get that too. So I mean, I have to get it, man. It's Assassin's Creed.
All I want to know is, are you getting the keychain?
Yes.
Pretty badass, actually.
If I can find it, I mean, if I can find it somewhere, where I can.
I'm calling you a big phony right here on the podcast if you don't get the
I know, right? You're gonna be like,
what's interesting? What's interesting about the keychain and the symbol is that just seeing each new game's interpretation of the Assassin's Creed symbol has always been really cool. Like I liked Origins with the Eye of Horus, and now seeing this one with the I guess what you would consider a Spartan helmet. Like that's really cool. Like I love just the interpretation as it changes with each game.
Yeah, we almost got 7 people watching. Let's get 50 likes and move on to 60 likes.
If this is part of a trilogy, so the first one is Assassin's Creed Origins, second one's Assassin's Creed Odyssey. What's the third one going to be? Assassin's Creed Orgasm?
It's going to be Assassin's Creed Detroit.
Assassin's Creed loot boxes.
Assassin's Creed Overdone. 3 games in 3 years. People are tired of the series once again.
Right? Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Shout out to Crap. He's excited for it. He said the more the better. And if it's good, man, I agree with you. I was just kind of hoping they were going to take a year off and kind of
they've already said that they're not gonna do that. They're not gonna do that whole yearly thing again.
I guess they just had to reboot it, right?
I think what they were doing was during that 4-year gap from Black Flag to now, they were really gestating in what they were trying to do with it to continue. And now that they saw the reception for Origins, I think what we're seeing with Odyssey is just kind of like a one-off with it being almost a year later, because the fact that they have a story, they're going to do these these either 2-game, 3-game stories, and then they're going to let it sit for a while and write out, more lore, more future games, and not just trying to put everything together and in the quick run, because that's what killed the other games, because while the original trilogy, even with the Ezio trilogy with 1 through 3 and all that, it had an idea on what they were trying to do with what was going on in the real world, what was going on in the game, and everything with the Doomsday aspect of it with the ancient ones. After that, when we got, you know, Black Flag, and then, you know, with what was the other one? Unity, and then what we got with Syndicate, and then what was the one in Louisiana? I'm trying to remember.
There was a one in Louisiana.
Yes, there was. Yes, there was. It was a female. It was a female.
Yeah, Liberty, wasn't it?
Liberty. Yeah, Liberation.
Assassin's Creed Duck Dynasty. There we go. Crap had a good point. He said you can show it and not release it this year. Anyway, we beat this into the ground. We'll move on because Assassin's Creed, it's a cool topic, but it isn't everything. So we're going to talk about some more leaks. All right.
Let's go.
We had some people talk about this Sony PlayStation conference leak, and I think it's bullshit personally. Okay. So did you guys get a chance to watch? I'm not calling Dealer out, by the way. Shout out to Dealer. He made a video on this, and he put the disclaimer in that, you know, I don't think he thought it was true. Maybe he did. I don't know. Anyway, this was released on Reddit, I believe. Anyway, there's a screenshot of it. I might show you guys, might not. I'm kind of lazy about this, but anyway, there's Sony PlayStation press conference was leaked basically like Nintendo. There was a leak of the paper, and it looks almost exactly like the Nintendo spread. The Nintendo one ended up being pretty much factual because, you know, the Pokemon announcement was made and all this other stuff. So someone came out and they made this, you know, write-up of the conference sheet, and it's listing off games. I'll just go through it real quick. It says they're going to start with PlayStation mashup trailer. Then they're going to go into Days Gone. They're going to talk about Last of Us, which we already know. Then they said Splinter Cell Apocalypse trailer. That's interesting. Devil May Cry 5, Yakuza 2, Shenmue 3. No, I'm just kidding. Play PS2 and PS3 games on PS4. Bullshit. Death Stranding trailer. Kojima plays Death Stranding. Resident Evil 2 remake gameplay, which is fine. Vanquish 2, which would be interesting. Spyro launch trailer. Kingdom Hearts 3, that's fine. All this stuff we've heard about. Beyond Good and Evil 2 gameplay. Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater remake, interesting. Marvel Spider-Man gameplay, and then Final Fantasy 7, which we've been hearing about the remake trailer, right? Forever. One of the reasons why I think this is fake is because there's no mention of PlayStation VR anywhere here, and you know they're gonna show like 30 minutes of that, right?
Or Ghost of Tsushima,
all that stuff. Yeah. So I think this is bullshit.
Yeah,
bullshit. Personally, what do you guys think?
I'll start out this one because it absolutely is, because they stated that the show's going to be an hour, and they've already stated that 4 games are going to get 10 minutes each up on their stage, which is going to be Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, Death Stranding, and then I think Spider-Man. So that's 20 minutes of everything else, and you know some of that time is going to be for VR. So there's no way that they're going to show off everything else in 15 minutes unless they like show 30 seconds of each thing. And some of those things is just like, no, because we know with if they do Splinter Cell, that's going to be something else. But we know that Ubisoft has been really good with Microsoft about them getting marketing rights for a lot of their titles in the past while. And I don't think Microsoft would pass up on a brand new Splinter Cell for marketing rights with everything else that they've been picking up.
Better not.
Right? 2, we already know that Shenmue 3 is going to have some sort of showcase, even though it's still probably another 2 years out before. And we know that they already announced that they're doing a remake of 1 and 2 for both PlayStation and Xbox. So I don't know why they would go in and showing that. And then the third thing is Snake Eater remake. They've done Snake Eater so many times. I don't think that Konami would be stupid enough to remake Snake Eater again after everything else that they just did, especially not after Survive. Because when they did reduce Snake Eater on the new Fox engine, they put it in a goddamn pachinko machine there in Japan. That was a slap to the face because it looks good, but why is it in a fucking pachinko machine?
So can you guys see my screen? I don't know if it's going back and forth. Okay, cool. Interesting, right? It looks like, I don't know, the sheet looks fake to me, man.
Well, the first thing I see, you know, I already looked at it, but that Beyond Good and Evil 2 gameplay right there, like I could tell already it was fake because just by seeing that, I already know that's going to be on Ubisoft stage. Like that's definitely going to be Ubisoft's thing. You know, maybe they might put a little bit more into the Microsoft conference or whatever, but it's really going to be on that Ubisoft stage, you know, and that's going to be way before PlayStation, you know, does their conference anyway. So, it's just it's weird that, you know, they kind of, this sounded like some wishful thinking, you know, like this was like a wishful thinking list, and instead of like actually being, you know, trying to be legit, you know, and that's okay, but you know, you gotta understand that like they've already announced the games that they're gonna talk about already, and you know, like Bloody said, they're gonna give 10 minutes to each of those games, so that's what, 40 minutes right there. So you know, that's like 20 minutes for the rest of the stuff. Like, no, man, that's not enough time to talk about, you know, gameplay for Beyond Good and Evil. That's not enough time to do any of those games that are on there. You know, it's just like, and Splinter Cell, like what? Like, if anything, Ubisoft is gonna show that off. You know, like there's no way they're not gonna show that off at Ubisoft.
Can you imagine the guy that makes this spread and leaks it on Twitter? He's like, oh shit, man, everybody believes my bullshit. They're
right. That's the crazy thing, that there are people out there that are gonna believe it, but you know, a lot of these links we got to take with a grain of salt, man. We got to take, especially these lists, like got to take that with a grain of salt.
The backwards,
just a grain, you know, just a little like sand grain, you know.
The backwards compatibility makes no sense to me, man.
Yeah, no.
I don't even think the grain of salt. They can't even do it on the PS4, right? With the architecture, it just doesn't. It's not compatible.
It's not built with it.
The coding is just all different with each generation of the console.
Yeah, with each generation.
Think about it, guys. That whole wish list looked like that whole wish list looked like it was made up by just some Sony fan that this was his like personal wish list, because that's what it reads off like to me. It's like it sounds like everything some of those salty asshats have been fucking talking about. Like, this is what we'd like to have. You know, like it just there is some legitimate stuff in there, but overall, and just the way it's like listed, you kind of, if you've ever seen some of these official listings, they don't look as like bold letters and the large font like that. You know what I mean? Like it just
looks wrong. It looks weird. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's complete bullshit, but it's another leak, so we talk about it. Anybody have any other thoughts on it?
I will say one thing, and that's, you know, with these leaks, especially these list leaks, these ones right here, I like to look at them and I like to say, okay, of course this is going to be bullshit. This is bullshit. I mean, you can weed out the ones that are, but Kojima playing Death Stranding, that one might be true. I mean, there's just like they say, there's truth to every joke. We can look at this list and say it's a joke, but there might be some truth in it.
I mean, every squirrel gets a nut eventually, right?
Exactly.
You know, that saying. So I think these people just get some of the stuff that they know is going to happen, and they guess on it, and then it's like, if some of the shit happens, they're like, see, I told you. It's like, oh, I didn't get everything right, but see, you know,
all I know is that after Sony's conference, I'm definitely gonna come back, look at the list, and say, okay, hey, look at this was checked off, and if it's nothing, then so be it. But I will come back to that list. I'm real with myself enough to say I'm gonna revert back to that list after.
That's true. We'll go back to it and say how much bullshit it was. But anyway,
some of these leaks are like queefs because they constantly come out of pussies. Yeah.
Oh God.
Demonetized.
Wow.
No chills, Till.
No chill. All right. So next topic, we got Fallout 76. This came out of nowhere, right? It's weird because Bethesda was kind of trolling people the day before. They had like their Twitch stream and stuff like that. Like hundreds of thousands of people are showing up, and the way that they revealed this was kind of weird. But come to find out, this is going to be an online Fallout game. The 76 number is important. I watched it. It's actually a shelter.
It's one of the vaults.
Yeah, it's one of the it's one of the vaults. Sorry. And I watched a video on it. It's interesting, right? It's supposed to take place over by the DC area, I think.
West Virginia.
Yeah, and it's earlier in the timeline, right? Like all these Fallout games take place way after all the bombs dropped in this fictional universe or this area. But this happens like, what is it, 25 years after the bombs dropped or something like that?
Yep. I believe it's 200 years before the first or the third one. Something like that.
So it's basically a beginning, right? It's before all this other stuff. Yeah. And it's online, which is interesting. I put a poll on Twitter, and I'll pull it up. It's controversial. It's like I said, what game's better, Fallout or Elder Scrolls? And you had, people from each factions talking about it, and they're like, "This is like the poll you can't do," And I was like, "Well, it had to be done." But I love Fallout. I'm a big fan of it. I think Fallout 4 was awesome with the gun mechanics and everything else. I was really into that game. And I was like, what would make this even better if I could play with my friends? And lo and behold, it's not going to be a traditional Fallout game based off of, the rumors. But there's been some rumors and there's been some denial of the rumors. So we got to take it with a grain of salt. We keep saying that. But this is going to be an online game, which is cool. It's going to be, supposedly you're going to be able to build, shelters, and you're going to build it's a survival game. So it's interesting to me. I feel like it's a cool play by Bethesda because it's not an actual Fallout game. They're trying something new. They're trying something different. I applaud them for that. Bethesda is quickly becoming one of my favorites, honestly, if not my favorite, based off of their track record. So I do feel like they're going to deliver on this game. I think it's going to be fun. What do you guys think? Fallout 76, what do you guys think?
I kind of want to go on this first before these other guys. I really don't know what to think of this game, man. I saw this little, trailer, this little snippet, and I was like, this is cool, but like from what I've been hearing, this being like not a traditional Fallout game, I've been hearing people saying it's going to be more like a survival like Rust. I'm all like, man, if it is, I mean, that's cool. They're going to have something different in the Fallout universe, but for me personally, I've always liked the RPG elements of Fallout, and I've always liked the story of Fallout. So, if they don't have that in the game, this is definitely not. This is going to be a pass for me personally. And that kind of sucks because I really have real profound respect for Bethesda and everything that they do, because I mean, they every year they come out with something that's just fire. Last year we had Evil Within 2, we had Wolfenstein New Colossus. We had some really meaty games right there, and then they kind of show this, and I'm like, really, guys? Like, what are you doing? Like, don't mess with the single player games that you're good at. Don't mess with that. Just real quick, I want to pick your brain. Isn't it important for these video game, designers and publishers to try new things with their brands, so it doesn't get stale? I know it's a scary thing, right? The things that are different or things that are new take you in a new direction. It's a scary thing. Like if you looked at God of War, for example, the changes that they made on the outside looking in, if you heard that before the game came out, the different camera angle, you might have said, hey man, they're taking this shit too far. They're messing with something that's good. That's the only thing I say. It is kind of weird, like to kind of take this concept and put it on its head and spin it around, but I think it's a good thing. I definitely understand your reservations for that, because it is a scary thing. If you like Fallout and they do this weird shit and it's not good, I don't know, it could end up being not good. Bloody, what do you think, man?
I actually think it's going to be something interesting because I love innovation and I love taking something that's established and doing something different with it. Like a lot of people say, look at what happened with ESO. Well, ESO or Elder Scrolls Online still has a really big community. They've continued to put out big expansions for it. It's heavily invested in the lore. Like people overlook that game, but it's actually not bad. It's definitely not what you think of traditional Elder Scrolls, but it's not bad. If they want to do a survival aspect with Fallout, that would work perfectly in Fallout. I've always thought that it had that aspect. Look at with all the radiation from ghouls and everything else, Deathclaws already having to worry about radiated areas and stuff like that, having to use everything. It's like perfect for like a futuristic survival and having that aspect. Now being able to do it in the co-op thing, that it works for it. And the fact of what they're doing with this one being the earliest in the timeline, as well as it being Vault 76. If you know anything about Fallout and know the lore of the vaults, 76 was one of the very few control vaults that weren't an experiment. It was one of the ones that were actually legit vaults that held everyone and did everything right. It wasn't trying to do some sort of messed up thing. And I think that's interesting and why it would work for this game. You know, it's not like a lot of the others that we've seen. So it's something new. I think we should wait and hold off on more reservations and wait till we actually see what they show off at their conference and see a little bit more before we start saying yay, nay, and all this. I think it's cool in concept, but remember, these are a lot of leaks. And even though they're coming from well-established people like Jason Schreier and many others who have corroborated the same information, I still say that for me personally, at least, I want to wait to see more what they show off, what is possibly going to encompass in it before I say, yes, I'm fully sold on it, or no, I'm not going to get it at all. Because when I saw Fallout 4 and everything else, dude, I was sold on that when they made that trailer and they showed it off at E3 and then gave it day and date at that showcase. I was just like, yes, this I want.
Yep.
I was like, so I want to give it a little bit of, you know, time to be, you know, we're just over a week away. Like let's keep ourselves together just a little bit longer and see what it comes.
No, bloody, I want to lose my shit and I want to lose it now.
I mean, you do you.
So Native, you're a big Elder Scrolls fan. What do you think?
Yes. Man? I think if Fallout was going to go the way of an MMO, and Bethesda's going to have ZeniMax or somebody else do the, you know, developing for it, it's going to be a lot like Defiance, that MMO. I don't know if you remember Defiance or if you've seen Defiance 2050, but the way that the guns are in Fallout, the mods for the guns, the attachments, the armor settings, I mean, it's going to be so, I mean, you can correlate the two. It's going to be like fucking Defiance, and Defiance ended up picking up towards the end of its life cycle, but I don't want to see a Fallout MMO. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't want to see that, and okay. I'm almost scared to say, you know, a co-op Fallout 76. I wouldn't mind it, you know, one or two people, well, two people. I wouldn't mind a co-op experience like that. You and a friend go through the wasteland. I wouldn't mind that. Anything more than two, I feel like there's a lot of shit that's gonna break, and they're gonna have to kind of move away from the storyline and the story arcs that they present. Because I mean, everybody can say the storylines of Fallout are what make Fallout. I mean, those missions, those quests, those it's just so immersive, you know. And then you have all the things around you. If it's gonna be 250 years before Fallout 3, is that right, Bloody? 250 years?
I think it's 201 before Fallout 3.
Okay. Well, still, I mean, you think about it, 200 years, Fallout 3, you have those kind of monsters, you have all the ghouls and all this stuff. Life is already settled on the outside, so they're barely walking out right after the bombs drop and everything, so things are going to be a lot more radioactive. Hectic. So, yeah, exactly. Hectic, more radioactive. People are barely starting to even see ghouls and things of that nature. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do it. I would rather them go that route, like Bloody said, a survival game, like Ark or Conan. I can totally see that. But
not my Fallout.
Anything else, I don't know, man. I don't know.
That's exactly why I think it's going to be perfect for that archetype.
So, Noof, what do you think, man?
First, I'll say that I'm not a huge Fallout fan, but I am a Bethesda fan, and I much prefer the Skyrim games over Fallout. I just the content, they feel very similar. They are very similar. I get that. Like a lot of people say, well, Fallout, Skyrim with guns. Yes and no. Like to some degree, yes. I mean, there's a lot of familiarity there to it. I think they follow a lot of the same design principles. I think they might even be built on the same engine if I'm not wrong. But I just like Skyrim because I like the lore. I like the sword play, the magic and stuff. Like I'm more into that style because especially being able to play Skyrim from a first person perspective, I think is really cool because we don't get a lot of like RPGs. Certainly a lot of heavily, heavy RPGs like Skyrim that use that style. You know what I mean? It feels very immersive. And Fallout, I just couldn't really get into it for some reason. I had number 3 and I played it for a bit and just wasn't jiving. I mean, then I tried 4 and same thing. I played it for a bit and it didn't jive and then I traded it. So, I mean, I'm still kind of excited. I'm kind of excited where they go with this and maybe I'll give the series another shot in the arm eventually. I will say that 1976, good year. It's the year Noof Nukem was born. It's also the year that Rocky actually won the movie of the year. That's pretty cool. So that doesn't happen every day. Stallone movie. Absolutely. I am old. Yes. Rocky Balboa. The original Rocky was movie of the year in 76. How about that, eh?
What were you, 30? You were 30 at that time, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. I was just starting.
let's pay the bills before we roast Noof Nukem anymore. Justin Maroney, Justin Beer Funds for the good show, $20. Thank you. Punk, what do you think, man? I don't know if you're a Fallout fan. I don't.
Actually, I am, man. I love this.
You are.
Okay. I'm fucking with you. Hell no. No.
I
just wanted to come out with a blast. Sound all excited. No, I don't. I just. You already know that's not my type of game. I've never played any of them. I look at them. It's just not for me. So I have zero take on it.
Wait, Fallout and Skyrim or Fallout?
Both.
Oh, god damn it. You're off TSP. That's it.
We usually kick bitches off and they're still on here. So.
I thought we were going after Bloody.
Come on, guys.
Hey, anybody can get it who says they don't care for either one of those two.
And you're supposed to be my Splinter Cell fan too, man. I lost respect. You get off this panel too.
Oh, so who else hasn't given their quick take? I think we all talked about it, right? So anyway, let's get on to the next topic. Crackdown 3. Just go over this real quick. Amazon canceled some people's pre-orders and everybody lost their shit online. Surprise, right? So Crackdown 3, Aaron Greenberg came out and he said that it was an error on Amazon's side. He didn't come out and say it wasn't going to get delayed. It's definitely not canceled, so people can pull that out of their ass and throw it away, right? For some reason, people just have this real big desire for this game to be canceled. I've never said that I wanted it to be canceled. I feel like it's just gets old to hear about the game, when it's not coming out. Yep. I think honestly, personally, if I was if I was a betting man based off of what I've heard, from people behind the scenes and stuff like that, I honestly think that Crackdown will probably be delayed into next year. And I think that that's an interesting thing. I think it's a better thing if you think about it, because this game was developed during a time where Microsoft wasn't spending a lot of money on games. That's a factual thing. They're developing hardware and focusing on that. They're closing studios and canceling games. This was just one of those games that was made during that time. You're seeing State of Decay that was made during that time. So Phil Spencer made it a priority to make this game better. They're going to spend more money on it, polish it, whatever. Usually that's a good thing for a game, but with this game, the way that it's been treated and handled, and the excitement level for it, I don't know. It is what it is. So 2019, if it gets delayed till that time period, do you think it will be good for the game? It doesn't matter. Should they drop it in Game Pass and say fuck it? Let's talk about it. Who wants to start off?
Well, that's the thing. It's kind of like film. When a film, when they push it out for so long and people are like, oh yeah, you start losing faith in it, the movie usually tanks. Or is usually a bad movie, and people are like, "Oh God, we just wasted our money on that." Now, in gaming, when a lot of things get delayed like this, that's not always the case. But with something like this, it's been kind of shown off and then delayed, and then shown off again, and then delayed, and then, I could see where a lot of people are losing faith in this game. and the whole, Amazon losing the pre-order thing, it was like, that stuff happens all the time. I mean, that it's just the nature of pre-ordering stuff on the internet with technology. It just happens. But with Crackdown, I was never interested in Crackdown. I have no interest in Crackdown, but I still want to see this game come out because I think it will showcase what the Xbox One can really do, and of course, what the cloud can do as well. So I mean, this definitely is something that I think needs to come out. But if they're going to go back and they're going to put some more money into it, they better make this thing absolutely fantastic. It can't be anything more than, it has to be God of War for the Xbox. That's what it's got to be, especially if they're doing this. Like if they're doing this,
don't get your hopes up. That's all.
I know.
Really high hopes right there, dude.
They're gonna have to spend like 20 years on the game to get it to that level.
Well, I have to distance myself from you,
and still delay.
It's gonna have to be close to that. It's gonna definitely have to be close. It cannot be something that is like State of Decay 2. It cannot. This cannot.
It's true.
Well,
I mean, I don't know. Noof, go in.
Well,
man.
here's the deal, guys. I mean, after Sea of Thieves took a shitload of flack for being sort of a game without content, State of Decay has taken a pile of crap now for having some buggy glitches and being PvP. So can Microsoft afford a third game in this year if it comes out and it's less than anything but stellar? I mean, stellar at least from a technical standpoint, right? That's the thing. Now, here's the deal: if Microsoft drops a heavy hitter at E3 that looks like it will come out this year, it might not be a big deal that Crackdown slips into 2019. Many of us might just dismiss the point. Besides, there's always a guy ready to write a Sony article, apparently, that, hey, Days Gone is getting delayed, and it's a good thing. So where are those articles for the Microsoft games is what I'd like to know. But bottom line, if Microsoft drops a big bomb and it says, hey, we got this other game that's been in the pipe for a while, it's going to drop in 2018, Crackdown slips into spring, wouldn't be terribly bad. Armored Reaper bringing us up in the chat, like, I'd rather have a polished and great game than another average game that just kind of gets ruined by anticipation and a lot of unworthy flack, and it sounds like they're trying for a very ambitious title with Crackdown. Like, I mean, that massive scale destruction that they're going for, it certainly looks and sounds like it would be like nothing we've ever played before. And I'm sure, and again, they have multiple teams working on this. I understand. So I'm sure there's a lot of tricky things that have to go on with the cloud technology and vice versa. I mean, I want it to be good. I really do, because I feel it's that title that has a lot of promise. I thought from what I saw of it before, the graphics and stuff look really good. I don't know why people were harping so much on the graphics of Crackdown 3, but everybody gave that other game that came out by Volition or whatever earlier the year. What the hell was it? It was already in the bargain bins.
Agents of Mayhem.
Agents of Mayhem. Virtually the same kind of game. That got a pass, no problem. But Crackdown's been taking heat ever since. And like, obviously the people giving this heat must have been people that never played the original two, because they were stylized, cel-shaded graphics. So why wouldn't the third one be? If you compare them, there is no comparison. You can easily see the Xbox version is above and beyond what we played on the original Xbox. And they're still hold up pretty well today. But I think bottom line, if it is true, I don't think a delay for Crackdown would necessarily be bad if it still needs some work, because we deserve a polished title at this point and not another game that's going to tarnish the Microsoft reputation for publishing, games that are sort of not polished and ready to roll.
Yeah.
It's true. Punk, what do you think, man?
Oh wow! I mean, a lot of people are like, okay, so a lot of people were putting all their eggs in one basket for this game. It's like, it's been delayed. Was it 2013 they showed that thing? It was 2013, 2014.
I think it was later. It's been a while though.
Yeah, it's been forever. So, I mean, we had delays suck, and we all talk about, oh, okay, well, it'll be better for the game. But this game's been delayed so much. Does it even matter at this point? Like, you're either the guy who's not going to play it, or you're the guy who's going to play it. I mean, that's just the bottom line. Like I said, Salty, I saw you in the chat. Like, you're going to play it day one on Game Pass. This would be actually a game I'd probably actually buy, because, I like the cell shade and I like jumping around for orbs. I mean, that's all I want to do in this game, really, is just jump around for damn orbs. It could be the worst story ever, and I just want to jump around and get real high and get in my car and make it transform into something bigger and better. That's all I'm in for this game for. So people just need to calm down, You know,
hey, calm down.
Calm down. No, I do have a question though. So that
they're trying to squeeze in some more Terry Crews, and maybe they're even going to bring over the Old Spice guy. Who knows?
Like that Amazon
DLC.
Didn't Amazon do a deal? I know you could get like real cheap. Was like $35 or something. I know that's when a lot of people were doing the pre-order because it was like hella cheap on Amazon.
They're
like
just
people
like,
bought it.
Fuck,
so I'm wondering, like, did they lose that deal? that's what I'm wondering about.
Yeah, I mean, they're like, damn, we should have given that low price. Cut it off.
Yeah,
cut them off. Yeah, cancel it.
Cancel it,
dude. Just that social media does. We read into so much of this bullshit. It gets annoying, and I'm gonna fucking buy the game. I don't care.
Yeah, I tweeted about it, man. I said, 99% of the people that are tweeting about this shit, they don't give a fuck about the game. They just like a negative Xbox headline, and that's just the facts, man. I think it was one of the tweets that got the most activity on my Twitter, and I've been tweeting for a long time. So I think people feel the same way. I think there's a lot of people. I think Cold Eastwood did a poll about people that were going to pick up the game, and it was pretty, heavy in the favor of picking the game up. So I think a lot of people behind the scenes are waiting to play the game. It's just had a lot of negative PR, and that's just comes down to Xbox. Xbox is kind of the whipping boy right now because they're third place, and it is what it is. Who else have we? Bloody, what do you think, man?
For me, like, I'm still kind of hesitant on it. Well, I enjoyed the first one, and I have all the achievements from the first one. I did play the second one. I saw what they were trying to go for it. Like, the second one was just hella fun, just playing with people, just using the gliders, jumping off the tallest buildings, and then running around with the harpoon gun. Nothing was more fun than spending 15 minutes with your friends trying to harpoon as many things to a single car and drive around in it. I know what they're trying to do with the third game. I want them to do it bigger. I want them to do it better. I want them to take their time with it. I'm one of those people that's kind of patient on certain things. And this is a game that I think that they really need to stress and show what they're capable of and push it. And the thing about it, too, that really is kind of hard on Microsoft is that Crackdown is a game that hasn't had a solid studio. Each game from the first one to the second one has had a different developer, and there's a different developer doing the third game. So they don't have a team that's had experience with each game going all the way back. They've had a new studio working on each one. So the studio that they have now, they really have to put the money into them and really make sure that they push this as much to the limits as they can. And like someone like Punk, the appeal of the game is literally to just run around, cause mayhem, and just grab orbs. He doesn't care about the story. When you could literally flying kick a dude from halfway across the street and then just jump up top of a building that's like 40 stories high and then just grab a bunch of orbs. You don't need anything else. It's one of those games that is literally meant to be stupid, mindless fun. And the multiplayer showed that, with them showing, hey, fully destructible cities. What do you think people are going to do? They're not going to play the objective. They're going to take as many explosives and see how much of the city they can level.
Exactly. And I've heard the multiplayer. It's first of all, I want to roast Punk and who else? Dark. If we've learned anything from Destiny, people like that mindless fun and no story. So,
dude, that's a little blunt, bro. Come on.
No. I told Punk in the chat that he just wants to around and catch giant shiny balls.
So yeah, like I heard the rumor on the multiplayer, which if it's true, it's fucking dope. You'll have two teams and you'll be split up. It's kind of like Splatoon in a way, because in Splatoon you like paint the ground and you try to get as much paint coverage as possible and you can kill people. But in this game mode, you destroy the buildings. And each team is trying to do that in addition to killing other people, and whoever gets the most destruction wins. That's badass right there. I would fucking.
Oh yeah, that's fun.
So it's interesting to say the least. I think this game could be, they did the PR nightmare with those C-list celebrities that couldn't fucking rub their belly and tap their heads at the same time, So that was trash. We want to forget that, right? But they did that, and then the game just wasn't finished, and people dogged the way it looked. There were some errors like cars humping each other and stuff. There's a meme out there for that. So it is what it is, man. I think Crackdown, they're putting more money into it and they're putting more time into it. So there's no way it won't be better than what it would have been if it came out, 2 years ago. So I think it's going to be good. Not good. Okay. Don't quote me on that. Someone's splicing my audio right now and putting on Twitter.
Damage controlling right now, Salty? Is that what's going on?
Damage controller. Saltiest Gaming. Listen to this shit. It's gonna be the next God of War. No, I'm just kidding. So anyway,
hey, I didn't say it was gonna be the next God of War. It has to be close to God of War, Dan.
No, I think you said it has to be the God of War for Xbox.
Everyone's gonna take
someone splice that audio clip.
You know what I meant.
Twitter.
You know what I meant.
Hashtag. No, I'm just kidding.
Fraud.
So anyway, yeah, I don't know. We've hit our time limit. I like to keep this, around an hour and a half. We're not gonna push it. It's just been it's time flies by. It's crazy. Like when we're all together,
it's fun.
Dark's got a new name now. If since you call him Fraud, it's Dark Fraudimus.
Oh, wow. So anyway,
Dark Gold Bum.
It's been awesome. I love you guys on the panel. The chat is awesome. I appreciate everybody. Let's get 70 likes on the way out of here before we do our intros. And what else? What's going on this week with you guys? Do you guys have anything good going on this weekend? Too bad we're out of time. So let's get to our outros. Let's start off with Punk. What do you got going on, and where can people find you?
Well, this weekend I'll just be celebrating my daughter's birthday. She just turned 2 last weekend, but it was Memorial Day, so we're gonna go ahead and take care of that this weekend. So that's pretty much my plans this weekend. And besides that, man, follow me on Twitter, Punkadish Gaming, Xbox and PlayStation Punkadish, and of course every Thursday here at 9 p.m. Eastern on Salty, talking with these great dudes.
Awesome. Thank you, man. Who else? Dark Fraudimus. Where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Dark Adamus. You can also find me on Xbox Live at the same name. You can also check me out every Saturday on the next podcast at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And you guys can check me out here on T.S.G.P. trying to get bloody off of this goddamn podcast.
We can do it, Dark. We can do it, Dark.
It'd be like the Survivor.
Oh, man.
So that's cool. Awesome. Native, where can people find you?
People can always find me on Twitter at Irrelevant Native. You can also find me here every Thursday at TSGP. And looking forward to Vampire. I don't know if that's how you fucking pronounce it. I don't care. That's how I'm pronouncing it. But Vampire, I'm looking forward to that one. If you haven't seen it, check it out, you guys. Seriously, it looks great.
Awesome. Noof, where can people find you?
Well, friendly diddly. Just had to stop in here and say one thing before this podcast wraps up. I just wanted to say, never fret because a crackdown gets delayed, y'all. That's okay. Crackdown gets delayed. You can still get your fix by getting some crack down the street, okay? So that's
wow. Love it.
All right, guys, we always know where to find me. Again, shout out to the chat. You guys are awesome. Also, special shout out, guys, to a good friend of ours, a good podcast dude, Stinking Corpse. Looks like his dog passed away this evening. You know what always sucks to lose a pet, because you know what, a lot of times pets are like family. Pets are sometimes they're better than family because they don't hate, they don't discriminate. They're there for you 24/7. All they want is love and affection. So Stinky, we're thinking about you, buddy. I know it sucks, but his life, I guess, is what it is. But anyway, guys, you know where to find me. Mixing up with Noof was awesome. I'll say thanks, guys, for stopping in and checking that out. Next week, I'm hoping to have, I think it's Xbox Phantom. Trying to get a few more guys. Still got to get a lot of guys from this podcast on there, and you will get your turn. Don't worry about that. I haven't forgotten anybody, but the list is fucking long. So there you go, man. Anyway, I'll catch you guys on Xbox. See you soon. Another great show, guys.
Awesome. Bloody, where can people find you?
Well, they can find me on Twitter on at Bloody Knuckles. The O's are 0s, the E's are 3s. Of course, they can find me on Saturday on my channel, Bloody Knuckles Smash Podcast, your little corner for nerdy news and geeky goodness. Of course, they can find me here every Thursday as well on TSGP with you salty bastards, and Fridays with the GRG crew with K Mega and all of them over there. And I want to. Oh, yeah, the L's for legendary. That's right.
L for lame.
Oh, but I am going to say here that you will not be seeing me on the show for the next 2 weeks here, because next week I'll be prepping to leave on Friday morning to California to be at E3 Live. So you're going to be seeing live coverage from these guys. I'm going to be sending them on what's going on So
better
do
not
be
come to
looking.
my state, bloody. Don't come to my state, bloody. This is my city, bloody.
Nah,
Don't
nah,
do it.
nah. I'm going there. I'm gonna look specifically. I'm gonna be like,
Yeah,
where's
go
native?
TP his house. Go TP his house and all that.
You can't TP a TP, goddammit.
True.
Yeah,
Anything's possible.
Another one on top of it.
I accept that challenge.
All right. Oh God!
Did you?
No.
Anyway, Native, where can people find you?
I already did my outro. What are you talking about?
All right, it's a long night, all right?
I said native, not that.
Hey, I was just seeing if you paid attention, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
adopted
Okay,
said
you
that I said
passed
the
the
N-word. I
test.
said native.
You passed the test. Yeah, I got kind of
T.S.G.P.
the guy in the chat. I'm like, what's going on here? Anyway, people are high on drugs. Anyway, so let's get to my outro and we'll get out of here. You guys can get to gaming. Saltiest Gaming, you're on the channel. 38th episode was arguably our best. I had fun. You guys had fun. We all had fun.
Yeah,
Thanks for being
Great
here.
topics.
Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, stay salty, my friends.